We continue to celebrate our children this month. As we do so, let's protect them from inappropriate media, music and entertainment. Today, we'll be helping you to be better parents and guardians. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Still to come in the half hour, protecting our children from child labor, managing diabetes in children, and our top news of the week. Jamaica Magazine unfolds right now.
Your hearts with a smile, lift up your feet with a dance, lift up your spirits with a song. It's family time, it's family time, it's family time.
Parents, take your place. Talk to your child about sex.
Children are not safe and happy if their parents are miserable and irresponsible. Parents have a duty to take responsibility for their children, not just to provide food, clothing and shelter, but to ensure their proper growth and development in a loving and caring environment, seeing to their health and education. This Child Month, we encourage you to take responsibility.
What about the children? To ignore is so easy.
Surely, parents must lead in the care, protection, and development of their children. They must take responsibility for their children.
So what about the children? Remember when we were children?
Every year in the month of May, the National Child Month Committee, the NCMC, shines a spotlight on Jamaica's children. This May, this Child Month, as we celebrate those with Jamaica's future in their hands, there is one simple message.
Parents, take responsibility, break the cycle. Today, it would seem as if the responsibility of our parents to properly raise our children has been shifted to the schools, youth clubs, churches, and the state. We must all understand and accept that as parents, we are duty-bound to mold and train our children in the way they should grow. As parents, we must ensure that our children receive, at the very least, training in the social graces, building and maintaining interpersonal relationships, carrying out the household chores, showing regard for authority, taking responsibility for their actions, conflict resolution skills, just to name a few. When was the last time you attended a PTA meeting? Do you know the social group that influences your child? How often do you spend quality time with your children? When was the last time you had family devotion? Who inspires your child? Who is your child role model?
On Sunday, May 4, the National Child Month Committee kicked off its month-long calendar of events with a national church service at the Hampton Green Gospel Church. It was the start of greater things to come.
On this day, parents, teachers, guardians, adults, caregivers across the length and breadth of Jamaica are encouraged to celebrate our children by doing something special for them and with them. This is the day when we help our children to understand that it's not all about rights. Our children love to talk about their rights, but we have to constantly remind them that they do have responsibilities also. This is where the youth of the nation are given opportunity to exercise and to express their concerns about what is happening in our nation and the impact that it has on them.
What about the children? To ignore is so easy.
That it is our duty, our job, our assignment, our responsibility to show Jamaica's children how much we care by taking seriously our responsibilities to mold, shape, and create a future generation who will be an asset to Jamaica, land we love.
Loved us and who cared enough to show us where would we be today.
Stop smoking around me! Without cigarettes, the world will be much better. Smoking is bad for your health, and when grown-ups smoke around us, we are breathing in their smoke too.
Cigarette smoking is bad for your health and the health of those around you. Don't smoke around children. A message from the Pan American Health Organization.
There are activities or chores that children are allowed to do, as these will help in their development. But there are some considered harmful and illegal. We're talking about child labor and why you need to guard against it.
It's a crime with many faces, destroying the future of our children. From the handcart or market boys to those working on the farms or at the fishing village, drug mules, prostitutes or nightclub dancers to street boys wiping windscreens, child labor takes many different forms, which all amount to one thing.
Activities that would deprive them of their educational opportunities. It would either cause them to leave school prematurely, or they would be forced to combine both school and work.
Putting our children to work is illegal and should never be allowed. Jamaica has joined forces with other countries to prevent and stop this abuse. The Child Labor Unit in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security plays an integral role in addressing issues of child labor. Its main focus: preventing the engagement of children in work or activities that adversely affect their development.
What we would consider to be unacceptable work, any process or any work that is morally, physically, psychologically harmful to the child.
Jamaica is a signatory to the International Labour Organization conventions which deal with the worst forms of labor. Convention 138 provides for a minimum age for employment, and Convention 182 sets out the rights of the child, a document which led to Jamaica's Child Care and Protection Act.
Subsequently, we have had several more pieces of legislation which undergirds and addresses more directly some of the issues that we would consider to be the worst forms of child labor, which would be commercial sexual exploitation and the general sexual exploitation of our children. We have signed on to the optional protocols to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and those spoke to pornographic involvement.
Under Jamaican law, no child under the age of 13 is supposed to be employed. However, between the ages of 13 and 15, they can be engaged in light work under conditions which are clearly defined by the ministry. Still, not all work is bad for children. Child labor should never be confused with normal activities or chores that may enhance their well-being. A 2002 survey showed that approximately 16,000 children were engaged in some form of economic activity. Recent inspections revealed a decline in that number, but ministry officials say there is no room for complacency. Constant monitoring, both by the authorities and the general public, is essential. Enforcing the law is critical. The penalty for putting a child to work is significant.
Persons can find themselves either before a resident magistrate, and you can be fined 500,000, or it could be both, fine and imprisonment, or a fine of up to $500,000 or 6 months imprisonment.
Labor inspectors in the ministry's child labor unit are constantly in the field, monitoring to ensure employers abide by the rules. Keeping children in school and out of the working environment is everybody's business. Currently, there are national programs such as the expanded social safety net to help parents keep their children in the classroom. And that's exactly where they belong, not on the streets or in factories in harm's way. Indeed, it takes a village to raise a child. So let's be our brother's keeper and help stamp out child labor. How?
When you identify a child that is obviously in a place where they're not supposed to be, that we take the responsibility to inquire, why are you here? If you see a child that is not attending school on a regular basis, they're somewhere else when they're supposed to be in school, it should raise a red flag that I probably should try and find out. And if you can confirm, not necessarily, but report to the relevant authorities, that the necessary intervention can be undertaken.
Children have a right to enjoy their childhood, a right to be protected from all forms of abuse. Let's protect them. Let's protect them.
Diabetes is incurable, but medical experts say that with proper management, persons with the condition can live a long and fulfilling life. Children are also affected, and there is assistance available to help them learn to manage the condition. Next, healthy lifestyle changes that can prevent fatal complications for all young diabetes sufferers.
Until there is a cure, they are ensuring persons unite around giving the care. And with special focus on the care and management of this chronic illness, diabetes, particularly in children and youth, the possibility of complications is being avoided, thus enabling a more fulfilling life. The Ministry of Health and the Jamaica Diabetes Association are leading the charge to get persons with diabetes to take control of their health. In recent times, there have been significant strides towards improving treatment and the well-being of children and youths living with diabetes. Thanks to the help of the Muddy Youth program, this effort has reached another milestone. The 2-year Muddy Youth project came about in 2011 through the collaboration of the Diabetes Association and the Ministry of Health. With funding from the World Diabetes Foundation, the initiative is being implemented in Jamaica, Belize, and St. Lucia to achieve certain key objectives.
The first was to develop a registry of children and youth living with diabetes, increasing access to HbA1c testing to improve their glucose monitoring, development and implementation of a pocket guide for the management of diabetes in children and youth for use by the healthcare providers, and the creation of support groups and youth camps in areas where none existed.
The registry provides demographic information, and the results of medical examination and lab tests are collected. A diabetes passport was also developed for children with the illness, providing useful information on each, which should prove useful in cases of emergency. It also provides useful tips for the children to manage the disease. To improve healthcare delivery, over 100 health professionals have been trained to treat children with diabetes under the Muddy Youth program, while the National Health Fund financed the training of 5 nurses from the regional health authorities as pediatric diabetes educators.
As the child matures, then the requirements for medications may need to change. And so the provider has to be able to adjust treatment according to the stage that the child is at.
Muddy Youth is also increasing access to HbA1c testing, which tells the healthcare provider the average blood sugar level over a 3-month period and identifies persons who are at risk of developing complications due to high blood sugar levels. It's part of the measures outlined in the Pocket Guide for Health Professionals.
These guides were reviewed by healthcare professionals in each of the regions and have also been approved by the Ministry of Health.
Most children who have diabetes suffer from type 1, the form that needs to be treated with insulin. This requires frequent monitoring of blood glucose levels and, yes, making healthy meal choices and staying active to prevent complications.
What you eat will affect what your blood sugars are like. Whether you take your medications or not will affect what your blood sugar is like. How active you are in terms of your play, other things like that will affect your blood sugar as you grow, or you may be undergoing different illnesses that will also affect your blood sugar.
Shanna K. Cunningham, one of 800 Jamaican youths to be first listed on the DAJ registry, believes that while it is challenging for children with diabetes, knowing what to do and having support can help them lead normal lives.
I'm saying I'm young, I want to enjoy my life, so I'm going to break the rules and I'm not going to take any medication. I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. But on the next note, I'm saying, well, diabetes could lead to blindness, kidney problems, all sorts of problems, and I'm saying, okay then, it's my life and I need to take control.
Assistance to youths with diabetes is provided via social activities, and the annual Camp Yellowbird, organized by the Diabetes Association, is one that got the support of the Muddy Youth program. In addition to learning to care for themselves, the children are able to engage in activities such as sports and educational games. The Diabetes Association is also setting up community support groups to complement the clinical management of the disease.
With the help of new partners, it is hoped that more young persons will be able to participate and benefit from the program in an effort to allow them to, as we say in the Muddy Youth Project, to control their diabetes and not let their diabetes control them.
Support can never be too much, and National Health Fund is up front in the line of assistance. 284 of its 119,000 enrolled diabetics are children up to 8 years old. Other children could benefit as the fund steps up its school screening program. The fund encourages the enrollment of children with diabetes under the NHF program, which gives them access to medication and diabetic supplies at a reduced cost.
And that includes the glucometer, insulin, syringes and tablets.
We need to continue with these programs that we have developed and all the support groups. We have enough talent and enough committed people here in Jamaica to let it work.
To learn more, contact the Diabetic Association of Jamaica or the Ministry of Health. Diabetic Association of Jamaica, 1 Downer Avenue, Kingston 5. Telephone number 927-9960 or visit diabetesjamaica.com. Ministry of Health, 224 King Street, Kingston 10. Telephone 967-1100 or visit moh.gov.jm. Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
On the board this week.
The exciting coronations in the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Competition continues today, Saturday, May 10. Don't miss the coronation and parish show for St. Anne at the St. John's Anglican Church Hall in Ocho Rios. Starting time 8 p.m. Also, later today, Manchester will crown their festival queen at the Cecil Charlton Hall in Mandeville, starting at 8 p.m. The parish of Trelawney will have theirs on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 11 at the Royalton White Sand Hotel at 8 p.m. To find out more on how to get to the show, call or visit your JCDC parish office. Come out on Wednesday, May 21 for a free Family Heart Health Public Forum at the Knutsford Court Hotel from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Join the Heart Institute of the Caribbean and St. Jude Medical in a panel discussion. For further information, call 906-210528.
The Jamaica Cultural Development Commission JCDC is now accepting entries for the 2014 Jamaica Festival Song Competition. The deadline for entry is Friday, May 16. Entry forms and guidelines are available on the JCDC website, jcdc.gov.jm, as well as the JCDC parish offices island-wide. Submit your entries to the JCDC head office at 3 to 5 Phoenix Avenue, Kingston 10, or any JCDC parish office. Entries must include a completed application form with an original signature, a non-refundable entry fee of $1,000, typed lyric sheets, and a CD containing your song of no more than 4 minutes.
Make it a date and come out for the Minimis Portmore Grand Coronation Show on Sunday, May 25 at the Southborough Primary School. Showtime 6 p.m. Send us your events for broadcast on the JIS Community Notice Board. Call 922-868022 or send an email to cbishop@jis.gov.jm.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice. High five. Woo!
A good education will never decay.
The top news stories of the week are next.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Global credit ratings agency Fitch this week forecasted 1.1% growth for Jamaica during this calendar year. Growth is expected in agriculture, tourism, and infrastructure. According to Fitch Ratings, sustaining the current fiscal programs would depend on the authority's ability to control expenditure. Meanwhile, the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, said Jamaica was expected to pass the fourth IMF test, which would result in a 100% pass rate for the 2013-2014 fiscal year. EPOC's co-chairman Richard Biles this week pointed out that during the last fiscal year, Jamaica's primary balance increased, while both the net international reserves and government's tax revenues grew.
They managed to come out with a surplus of 1.7 billion. So the government, central government, is essentially paying from revenues for all of central government expenses. And this is a new development for the economy, and a welcomed one, I should say.
A team from the International Monetary Fund is in the island from May 5 to 16, assessing the country's performance for the January to March quarter. Meanwhile, the 2014-2015 sectoral debate began this week with the Minister of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining, Philip Paulwell, announcing that 2016 still remained the deadline for the implementation of the 381 megawatt energy project. He revealed that Cabinet was appointing Dr. Vincent Lawrence to head an enterprise team to oversee full implementation of the project and said he would consult with the OUR about revoking Energy World International's license. Minister Paulwell also stressed that government remained determined to see the project completed and said some positives had come from the process with EWI.
Because before EWI, I was being bombarded by people who wanted to pursue sole sourcing, and I couldn't get them to budge below 19 cents. I have every confidence now that we will be able to achieve that initial 30% reduction because a benchmark has been set thanks to EWI.
Minister Paulwell also announced that under a new bauxite policy, there would be no new agreements to export raw bauxite without some specific conditions. This has led to the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the government and the China-based firm Xingfa Group earlier this year.
This foreign direct investment amounts to approximately $3 billion United States dollars.
A negotiation team to include a technical specialist in environmental management is tasked with settling the terms of definitive agreements within 6 months. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites also contributed to the sectoral debate this week and made this announcement.
No book lists are to be issued by schools unless approved by the Ministry of Education.
He also revealed that the ministry was increasing its allocation to the early childhood sector this fiscal year and assured that $2.4 billion would be spent to ensure that students benefiting from PATH would continue to get free lunches 3 days per week. Parents are asked to contribute between $45 and $60 per day to cover part of the cost of the lunch for the other 2 days. And at his post-sectoral briefing, the Education Minister addressed reports of some teachers exhibiting predatory sexual behavior towards children in schools and some members of staff choosing to cover up the incidents.
We have had reports, and where those reports have reached us, we have acted decisively.
The minister warned that if the appropriate authority from any school knowingly or negligently failed to make that report, he or she was liable under the law. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller called on Jamaicans to take a firm stand against criminal elements after criminals set fire to a section of the Taki High School. In a message delivered by Labour Minister Derek Kellier, the Prime Minister said the act was particularly deplorable as it happened in the period when students were sitting external exams.
I have been assured that Minister Thwaites and his team at the Ministry of Education will do everything to restore normalcy. I have also been assured that every effort is being made by the security forces to bring the perpetrators to justice.
Minister Kellier delivered the Prime Minister's comments at the launch of Workers' Week and Labor Day 2014 to be celebrated on May 23 under the theme, Take a Stand, Beautify Our Land. Activities are to include a church service, while the national project is a climate change park in Portmore. It reflects a national focus on protecting the natural environment.
So if you have environmental issues in your communities, let us get out there and do it.
At the parish level, the goal is to beautify and upgrade police stations and posts.
Labor Day 2014 will give us an opportunity to not only recognize the importance of work of our security forces, but also for our communities to extend their hand in partnership with them and with each other towards a better Jamaica.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
This is where we say goodbye for today. Join us again tomorrow for more useful information. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JIS News, and our website jis.gov.jm remains a constant portal for the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.